Okay, so we've just looked at sketching polynomials and different behaviours that they can have. So let's have a look in at this one, okay? So using some of the rules that we looked at, or some of the behaviours that we can see. For this one, straight away, it has arms facing different directions, okay? So we know that it's going to be an odd degree, okay? So the highest power is going to be an odd number. We can see what number that is by counting how many roots this has, or counting how many turning points it has and adding one on. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 turning points. 1, 2, 3, 4 turning points. Okay, so it's going to have 5 roots. It's going to be a degree 5. Okay, so if I was to look at the 5 roots it has one here, one here, one here, and then what about here? Here, the root is also a turning point, okay? So looking at our multiplicity, it means that that root, because it turns, it doesn't, so it's a turning point, it touches the x-axis, it doesn't cross the x-axis, that's actually counted for twice, okay? So if I was to list out all my roots, I would have that x is minus 5, that x is minus 1, that x is 2, x is 2, and x is 4. Okay, those would be my roots there. So we know it's going to be degree 5. Okay, so my highest power there, once I finally find the function, is going to be, or the polynomial, is going to be x to the power of 5. The leading coefficient. Okay, if I'm looking at the number in front of the highest power there, should it be positive or negative? Well, we're going to look at the right arm for that behaviour. Okay, so for in front of this x to the power of 5, should it be positive or negative? Well, the right arm is facing upwards, which means it's going to be positive. Okay, so we have loads to look at. Okay, so if I was asked, find what function is represented here, what I would do is I would write out all of my roots. Okay, so x was minus 5, x was minus 1, x was 2, x was 2, and x is 4. Okay, so x being 2 is the only one there that maybe could catch a few people. Okay, because it does need to be included twice. And we kind of are quite confident with including it twice, because of the fact that I know I need 5 values for x, okay, because I have 4 turning points, or I have 5 roots, one being counted for twice. Okay, so now that I have my roots, I can use my factor theorem to find my factors. Okay, so I'm rearranging all of my roots to see what would they be if they were to be equal to 0. Okay, so x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 2 equal to 0, and then x minus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, so now that I know all of those roots, I can go and multiply them together to get what this polynomial would be. Okay, so if I have all these things that are equal to 0, then I have 0 times 0. Okay, so this times this, so 0 times 0 times 0. Okay, times 0 times 0. Okay, so if I multiply 0 by itself 5 times, I'm going to get 0. Okay, 2 things to watch at this point. One is that we want to simplify it because x minus 2 is there twice. So I'm going to write it as with that being squared. So it's going to be x plus 5 by x plus 1 by x minus 2 squared by x minus 4. Okay, the only other thing to note is the right arm. Okay, if this was the exact quadratic but in the opposite direction. Okay, so the exact quadratic but in the opposite direction, so something like this. I'll try and kind of do it similar if possible. Okay, so it has the exact same roots, it crosses in the exact same places, but the right arm is facing downwards. If that was the case, then my leading coefficient has to be a negative. So I would have to have a minus at the start here, so that by the time I multiply this x by this and get x squared, and multiply the x squared by x and x again, so x to the power of 4, and x again, x to the power of 5. By the time I do that, I also have this minus from in front acting on it. So it's a negative x to the power of 5. Okay, so if it was the exact same polynomial, but the right arm was facing downwards, then I would have to just add that minus to the front. Okay, but in this case, it's not. The right arm is facing upwards. Okay, so I would leave it with it being positive at the start.